Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. There's only two of us this week.
I know. So Amanda, I was actually going to be the one that bowed out of this week's podcast. I've got like a shit ton going on. And then Amanda texted us and because we couldn't get the three of our schedules to match up. And then Amanda was like, I'm really tired from work. Is there, like, I'll still do the edit. Is there any time that works for both of you that you could just do this on your own? So that's what we're doing
So
today.
we're like, of course. So welcome to The Luck We Had, a shameless recap podcast. I am one of your hosts, Evan.
I'm your other host, Lena. And we don't want this episode to feel like rushed, but we are rushing a little bit today. Because like I said, we've got a lot going on, but we will just get right into it, shall we?
Shall we? We shall.
You want me to narrate, or do you want to do it today?
You can do it if you want to.
Okay. We gotta get you on one. Maybe the finale.
I know.
Well,
Oh my god.
We'll let Amanda do Emily, because like it's Emily,
oh, yeah.
and then we'll have you do the finale. Okay.
Oh my god, amazing, perfect.
Today we are talking about episode 410, Liver, I Hardly Know Her. This episode aired on March 23rd, 2014. It was written by Davey Holmes. This is the third of 7 Shameless episodes he writes through season 6. He wrote 308, Where There's a Will, 405, There's the Rub, this episode, 504, A Night to Remember, 511, Drugs Actually, 604, Going Once, Going Twice, and 609, A Year of One's Own.
I feel like there's a huge block of writers who only worked on Shameless from like season 3 to like season 7 and then dipped.
No, because here's why. The show was supposed to end at season 7.
Yeah.
It was going to end. They were pretty sure they weren't going to get picked up. And the whole, their contracts all ended, so they had to like renegotiate. That was the whole problem between season 7 and season 8 with the pay dispute.
Mm-hmm.
They purged like the entire writer's room.
Fucking hell.
They all found work elsewhere. I mean, except for, like the people who also doubled as like producers.
Yeah.
Like John Wells, Sheila Callahan. Or no, even Sheila Callahan was gone, I think.
Yeah, no, I think she left.
Nancy Pimentel, like they all stayed, but they totally got rid of everybody else.
God damn.
Anyway, other credits for Davey Holmes include he created the show Get Shorty.
Who was in that show?
How do I feel like
It sounds so familiar.
Get Shorty? Yeah, and for a second I was gonna say Steve Carell, but I think that's the movie Get Smart. Let's see.
Get Shorty.
Get Shorty, the show.
Is it John Travolta?
Based on the movie. Well, the show is Chris O'Dowd and Ray Romano.
Ah.
But the movie
has John Travolta.
The movie might be Travolta. Yeah, the movie is Travolta. He also wrote on Pushing Daisies, Damages, Law and Order, many other shows. This episode was directed by Christopher Chulak. This is his first of 11 Shameless directing credits. Get a load of this. This episode, 501, Milk of the Gods, 509, Carl's First Sentencing, 512, Love Songs in the Key of Gallagher, 601, I Only Miss Her When I'm Breathing. That's crazy. He did the finale and then the premiere.
Yeah, no sick.
604, Going Once, Going Twice. So he worked with Davey Holmes again. 612, Familia Supra Galligorius Omnia. Yes, Latin. We love Latin in here. 601, Hiereth. 605, Own Your Shit. 709, Ouroboros. And 1112, Father Frank Full of Grace. He directed the finale?
Yeah, what the fuck? I was
What
about
the
to say. Like, he disappeared and was like, hey, besties.
So he was responsible, somewhat responsible for that fucking Frank on the bar stool.
For floating Frank.
God damn.
He was like,
Other
green
than
screen,
that-
oh, I'm familiar with her.
No, yeah, other than that episode was well directed, I would say. I thought everybody
not a good
performed
episode,
very
but it
well.
was directed well.
Yeah, okay. He was also an executive producer in seasons 5 through 7, which was rough for him, I bet. That's crazy that he left for so long and then came back.
I wonder what made them like want him, because it's the finale. It's not just like any other episode.
We know that originally it was
John.
Maybe unless he decided a long time ago that he wasn't going to do it, but he's mostly directed like every other season finale. Most of them.
True.
And so it's just like it and also like the premiere, so it confuses me as to why, John Wells did not want to step in and do the finale.
He also just like wasn't there, and all the cast was like
it seemed like there was some beef there. Other credits include Animal Kingdom, Longmire, ER, a lot of others. He's very busy, very booked. The synopsis of this episode is Fiona goes off the rails, violating multiple terms of her probation by partying with Robbie's degenerate friends. When the family doesn't hear from her, it sends them into search party mode, not unlike their past experiences with Frank.
It's gonna be a rough episode.
Yeah, the previously on was done by lip-eating Amanda's pussy.
I don't like it.
Kind of a slay, though.
Kind of a slay.
Kind of a slay of him, because it's like, okay, yes, he gives oral.
Homeboy always gives oral, are you kidding me?
I know, that's why it's kind of a slay. Anyway. Previously on Shameless, Sheila proposed to a dying Frank so she can adopt her ex-boyfriend's kids. Svetlana threatened to tell Terry about Ian and Mickey. Lip started hooking up with Amanda, his roommate's ex-girlfriend. Carl met Bonnie, a bad girl who likes to rob convenience stores. Carol just had the baby and decided to keep it. Frank refuses to accept that he's dying. Mickey gave Kev a gun for protection. Fiona failed to get a job to satisfy her probation and got the smackdown from her ex's sister. That was insane. So she went running to Robbie.
Dude, that's it. That's a very filled previously on.
Yeah, it was a lot. I think one of the other episodes that I did, like, notes for the previously on was, like, insane. I was like,
yeah.
It was so long. Also, by the way, Amanda did the notes for today.
Thank you, Amanda. We love you and we miss you.
And Amanda's also doing the edit. She's the best.
Also, she's not here, so she's not here to put us back on track.
I know, so true. Okay. I'm here to do it. I'm like, my mom is coming.
You are, true.
My mom's coming to visit me. So we open on Fiona doing a line of coke and partying in a super fucked up montage.
It's like a strobe light
it's
montage.
Awesome.
It's really good.
A great montage. It's really cool. Especially that part where, like, the record keeps skipping at the end when she's, like, laying on the floor because she's on Molly, right?
Yeah, she's just on everything at that point.
Yeah, she's doing coke, weed, Molly. Because they do mention later, they're like, you want some Molly? And she's like, no, or she goes, how's that Molly? And she was like, what? I don't want any. And then she goes,
she was like, you already took it. And then Fiona's like, so wide-eyed.
So Fiona's ankle monitor is clearly going off as it's 100% past her curfew. She's hitting rock fucking bottom. And there's
Fuck you, Robbie.
Yeah, we can't just blame Robbie.
We can't, but homegirl got the bracelet. She got an anklet.
Yeah, and she doesn't think she has an addiction, but she is an addict.
Oh,
and so him, like, as an addict himself also, but, like, him enabling her is just, like...
Yeah.
There's a very cool transition here from a coked up Fiona laying on the floor, totally bug-eyed, right to a cut of Frank, like, dying in bed. Same type of framing, which I love when they do that. You know, like father, like daughter. Sammy tells Carl to go say his goodbyes to Frank, but when Frank asks for more pills, Carl freaks out and leaves. Yeah, because Carl thinks it's going to be, like, a touching moment between them. Frank pulls him in. He's like, I have to tell you something. He, like, pulls him in, and he's like, more pills. Yeah, and Carl's just, like, so upset.
Fuck you, dude.
Yeah, this was really, like, this was the beginning of, like, the splintering of their relationship. But I really think it was finished off in season 6. Meanwhile, Sheila is downstairs in her newly altered wedding dress, making wedding plans.
That wedding dress is hideous.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just super, like, 70s, super 80s.
It's so puffy.
But Sammy tells her that Frank isn't going to survive until the wedding, and Sheila's fully in denial about that. And she says, I'm excited about my marriage, and you're kind of being a downer with this whole your fiance's going to die thing.
I love her.
She is everything. Sheila says that the tribal council that will decide on her adoption of the kids is in 6 days, and Frank can just die after that. Like, good for her. She's like, I don't give a fuck.
She has her priorities straight.
It's crazy to me that all she needs is, like, a marriage certificate. Like, they don't have to meet the husband. They don't care of his condition. They're just like, prove you're married and we'll give you those kids. Over in the hospital, V is in labor and Kev is there supporting her, but Fiona's not there like she promised she would be. Because it is during daylight hours. She could have been there.
Yeah.
Kev is very sweet, though. He feels so bad that he can't help, and, like, he keeps talking, but V really wants him to shut the fuck up because she's, like, in the worst pain of her life.
Isn't she, like, screaming and then he's like, with her?
Oh, yeah, because they do that thing where they're like, okay, like, breathe with your partner, like, you know. It's very midsummer. Over at the Gallagher house, Ian is making pancakes. Mickey comes downstairs asking if Mandy's still asleep because, last week Kenyatta hit her. And
beat
Mickey,
the fuck out of her.
Homegirl, like really bad when we saw that one scene when she was bleeding all over the place.
She literally should have gone to the hospital.
I mean, face wounds look worse than they usually are, but still.
But like her eye looked like it was gonna fall out.
Yeah, and Mickey asked what fucking time Ian got up if he's already making pancakes. Ian went on a run at 5 a.m., even though they didn't get until 3. Classic symptom of mania. And he shows off the beautiful sunrise he took a picture of, and Mickey makes a joke about it. Must really clear your mind watching the sunrise after a long night of gargling old man balls.
That's kind of funny, but like, Mickey, don't be mean.
No, he's not just being, he's jealous. He's like, yeah, it must really be awesome looking at that sunrise instead of sleeping in bed with me after you shook your ass all night. Like, because he's petty like that.
Yeah.
He puts money in toward the breakfast and says that Kev is charging him for the rub and tug, which is a fun plot point to be referenced later. It's weird, though, because Ian's like, I thought you were broke. And he's like, doesn't he say, like, no, I just have a baby mama with her hand in my pocket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like, he like, has, like, an active fun, and then all of a sudden, no, he doesn't.
Yeah, for sure. Debbie comes in with the news that Fiona never came home last night, breaking her probation. Mickey pouring syrup on his pancakes from 3 feet up. Like, why is he holding it up so high? He's like, I'm just checking something out. And he says, back to the metal motel. He slays.
Yeah. No, he got some one-liners.
Yeah, the way that he speaks. Exposition.
He's like, Debbie, I know I'm here for just entertainment.
Yeah. And, this is the point where one character has to explain things to other characters so that we as the audience also know things. Debbie continues with the fact that V is having her babies and someone needs to call hospitals looking for Fiona while she's at school. Also, where's her shiv? Has anyone seen her shiv? Mandy comes in all beat up and tries to play it off, but Mickey and Ian are going to protect her whether she likes it or not. I really missed her.
Me too.
I know she wanted to be written off.
Yeah. Because I was watching, like, when I was just, like, watching episodes for the recording, I just, like, kept watching, and I got into season 5, and I was like, oh, Mandy, I was like, I miss you. And I got to the point where, like, her and Kenyatta leave or whatever. But, like, I was
and then she comes back later.
For, like, one episode.
I just felt like her exit was
her send-off left her no plot.
Yeah, it was so sudden, and it was
all her getting like beat up by Kenyatta, and it was like really like hurtful to watch.
Well, I mean, just to like watch that was the point, but still evil. But Mickey finds the shiv in the silverware cup on the table and gives it to Debbie, and Ian goes, 13 years old, and she's bringing a shiv to class, and Mickey says, man, I miss high school.
Well, you dropped out when you were like 12. Like, you could go back.
Yeah, no. He dropped out when he was, what, like 16?
Like 15 or whatever.
Because in season 1, he, like, talks to Lip and he's like, gotta be on that paper you wrote for me. And it's like...
He probably dropped out when he was, like, a sophomore or junior.
Well...
Junior?
He does say in season 2 in the dugout scene, Ian's like, you could go back to school, and Mickey's like, I would still be a fucking freshman. I haven't passed a single class.
Oh, he probably just has gotten held back every damn year.
Yeah, so he's Lip's age, but he dropped out somewhere between season 1 and season 2. Mm-hmm. So he was Ian's year at some point because he was held back. So Amanda says, no, I'm not going to say that Mickey looks real sexy eating these pancakes. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to think it, but I'm not going to say it. That's right. She didn't say it. I had to say it because Amanda wrote these notes. In college, Amanda is babysitting Liam when Lip comes home from class. He thinks his test went okay, but Debbie then texted about Fiona being missing. Amanda asks if he can stay focused on his exams, and she hands him a laminated schedule for his tests.
I love her for being so organized, but if I was that organized, I would go crazy.
It must be midterms, right? If he's having like all these tests.
What time of year is this supposed to be?
It's still the winter. But I thought he had a midterm like a couple episodes ago because that was the one he was late to.
With the one with like his jeans and stuff?
Yeah, when it was all like I don't know. Sometimes
I don't know. I would say I didn't go to college. You would know better than me, dude.
Yeah, sometimes certain classes have midterms like a little earlier.
And like, would it be like midterms before Christmas time?
No, this is the second semester. This is winter into spring.
Oh, so it's like February.
If it was his finals, it should be like March or April right now. It should be April and May.
Yeah, I feel I feel like I definitely, like, friends I've had in school have just been like, why the fuck do I have all these midterms? It's not the time of year for midterms.
Yeah, well, my midterms are coming up in a couple weeks, so that's, like, literally middle of the semester. But she then taunts Ron by discussing her and Lip's sex life, and it's like, Amanda, why are you being evil on purpose? Like, Ron, like, we get it, Ron doesn't care, but why are you trying to make him jealous?
He doesn't give a shit, but, like, that's still evil. Like, you were together first, and Lip didn't do anything but be nice to either of them. Like,
no, it is so weird that she's, like, trying to make him jealous because he never did anything wrong to her. She left him.
Yeah. And, like, it's not even, like, Lip and him.
No,
having
they're
bad blood.
buddies.
They're just roomies.
Weird.
Amanda's just a crazy bitch.
I think she's weird. I think she's just trying to be like, I'm getting some. But it doesn't Ron, like, have his new girlfriend there? Or is that later?
Is that when they're I think it might be later. It's like when they're playing Minecraft and then they're like ha 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 ha, ha and then they make out.
The best.
Oh no, hold on. I know when that scene is. It's like right before they leave for summer vacation.
Oh, so it's the beginning of season 5, right? It's like the first episode.
Yeah, the very beginning of season 5.
At Sheila's house, Sheila and Chucky are making wedding gift bags, and Sammy is doing a drug deal in the kitchen. Her dealer apparently has a hookup for liver transplants, which is weird because, well, it's like most dealers are just some guy.
Wow. I would totally trust that.
Right. Like, it's like who knows some guy. So it's like,
yeah, just some guy who knows some guy.
Sheila overhears this. Like, they were like, I mean, I guess it's like black market, but drugs feels like a totally different ballgame to me than organ transplants, but
oh, true.
Right, it's like I'm not in the drug business, so I can't say, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, trying to get a couple oxys versus trying to get a whole ass organ.
Anyway, Sheila overhears this exchange and jumps on board right away. Somehow Sammy is the level-headed one here, pointing out that this guy's a dealer she met in a parking lot at a Fish concert. But Sheila's like, but were the drugs, like, good? Like, if the drugs are good, then he's, like, trustworthy. But again, it's like, she met this guy in a parking lot at a Fish concert. Why would he have a hookup for organs?
Like, probably a decade ago.
No, Fish still performs, dude. My roommate went to a Fish concert. It's like a 3-day festival every time they go somewhere.
Insane. I knew they still performed, but I was just like, Sammy probably met him a million. That's funny as fuck.
No, yeah, she said it was amazing. She was like, I don't listen to Fish like that often, but the whole like experience, it was basically just like a festival.
Dude, that sounds fun though.
Yeah, but since it's only like the one band, I mean, they play for like hours and hours, but instead of it being like a festival, like it's like organized by festival people, it's just like all concert goers that just like hang out. Like they just hang out.
That's sick.
No, it's like
Let's go.
No,
Look,
she wants to take me
Let's go.
next year, and I'm like, should I?
Where is it held?
I feel like they have multiple. We'd probably go to the one in Chicago.
Nice. Is it in the park?
I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, Unhinged Sheila is the fucking best. And, oof, heavy time. Fiona wakes up looking run the fuck over on the floor of Robbie's apartment. All of the delightful, drugged-out idiots around her are asking about her ankle monitor and ranting about their friend's farm in Wisconsin. Her monitor has been cut off.
Isn't there, like a couple fucking in the background, too?
I think that's during the montage.
Okay.
I think they're, like, fucking on the couch and Fiona's, like, laying on the floor. But somebody in the middle of the night cut her ankle monitor off, and it's beeping, and she's, like, still on ecstasy. This is the part where it's like, she's like, how's that ecstasy? And Fiona's like, no, I don't want anymore. And she goes, you already took it.
And her eyes are like so like bloodshot.
Yeah.
She's tripping balls.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how she feels. She would probably dude, a nice cup of water probably would be so good.
She'd
right
be like,
now.
this is the best. And we join Carl and Bonnie walking home from school. He doesn't want to talk about Frank dying, so Bonnie proposes something to take his mind off of it, like stealing a car.
Love her.
And she goes over to this car. She knows exactly what the fuck she's doing. I'm pretty sure she like, Jimmy's the lock, right?
She pulls out like
one of
car
those things.
breaking tool. Like one of those things Jimmy used to have. It just looks like a long like piece of metal. And she just like hell yeah, girl boss.
Yeah, Carl is like, I am in love with you.
He's like, hey
girl, like, what you up to? At the hospital, Carol comes in to meet the girls and barely lets Kev look at his son.
That still made me feel so weird. Like, homegirl.
Right? Like, what are you doing?
You quote unquote tried to baby trap him, and then didn't want him involved in your baby.
Yeah, at least she's consistent with that though. After the birth, she's like, okay, my baby.
Bye.
Yeah. V is really disappointed that Fiona never came and is worried about her because no one could get in contact with her to tell her. But
yeah, and they don't know that she didn't come home at all yet.
Yeah, but this woman just shoved 2 human beings out of her body and is still worried about Fiona fucking Gallagher. That's a best friend right there. Also, a testament to how much of a fuck up Fiona is sometimes. Because, like, damn, I just had
about her best friend and only thinks about herself.
Like, I just had two babies, and I'm worrying about my friend right now. But she's also not sure which of her twins is which, and it's like, yeah, they're newborns. They look the same. It doesn't matter that much.
How do you just keep up with that?
Yeah, you just like pick one, and then like you dress them differently. Yeah. Until they grow up a little and then their characteristics get a little more separated.
Me with fucking Scout and Violet on TikTok right now.
Yeah. I'm not on TikTok much anymore. Elaborate. Are they babies or are they teenagers?
They're these 2 twin babies. Their mom is named Maya. I don't know. Everyone knows. Like, she like has gotten super famous super fast. It's so insane. But yeah, she just has these most adorable, cute little twin girls. They're less than a year old. But yeah, everyone makes fun of them and call them Scotch and Vodka or like violence and silence. Like, it's like an inside joke that like their names are everything but their names.
No, yeah, I love that. But back at home, Debbie is going over everywhere they've called and looked for Fiona. She gives Carl a list of places to call and check, and he runs out to meet Bonnie to get it done. Or to just like go visit, and Bonnie's just like sitting like waiting in the car.
Doesn't Debbie ask for a ride?
No,
I think that's the later when they go to school or something.
Yeah, well, and because she's just like, Carl's like, okay, like I'll go there, and then I feel like she's like, how the fuck are you gonna get there? Like,
no,
I mean they have the L, but
no, it's Lip. He's like watches Bonnie like drive off super fucking fast.
Yeah, and it's literally like the next scene. But Mandy comes down late for work and asks Debbie if her bruise cover up looks okay. And Debbie's like, yeah, like, I can't even tell. How the fuck did you do that? And she goes, living with Terry brought out the artist in me. Oof. Does look really good. Her bruise cover up. You can barely tell.
Yeah.
Lip comes home.
Here it is.
Yeah, Lip comes home in Amanda's car and watches Carl drive off with Bonnie, but he truly does not have time for that right now. He just kind of, like, watches, and then he's like, okay. All right. Inside, Mandy says that Kenyatta's not the first guy to hit her, but he will be the last. And if Debbie is ever with a guy that slaps her, she should take her shiv and jam it in his eye. Don't even let him start. And Lip tells her to go for the scrotum. Kenyatta's not the last guy who hit her. That's the whole reason. Well, I mean, I guess that's the whole reason she, like, low-key killed that guy. She didn't kill him. He had a heart attack, didn't he? But he did strangle her.
No, she did. No, she did. That's what they told the police, is that
he had a heart attack.
I think he had a heart attack. But no, he was trying to kill her. She, like, self-defense, and then he, like, bonked his head.
Or maybe not trying to kill her, but he was trying to, like, strangle her, like, as, like, a kink. It was, like, a kink thing.
He was just trying to do something she wasn't comfortable with, and she, like, self-defense.
Yeah. I'd have to rewatch that episode to, like, totally remember,
But as of now, Kenyatta would have been the last person to
hit her. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
He comes inside and sees Mandy in the house. He tries to check in on her, but she brushes him off, and, like, she kind of, like, shoves her way out and goes off to work. So Debbie takes over on Liam duty, and she and Lip talk about what to do about missing Fiona. Debbie says, all I do is look for my family. I'm getting all of you ankle monitors. I'm pretty sure Ian is, like, sitting in the living room on the couch or something. But Lip says all they can do is wait and hopes that she's okay, like, taking care of herself. Back to unhinged Sheila. She's meeting with a shady surgeon who's not licensed in the States. And Amanda says, I recognize this actor from literally one episode of Grey's Anatomy. He's in one episode of everything. He's a character actor. It's what he does.
Yeah, no, I definitely recognized him, too, from just being, like, in a show or, like,
just,
playing,
like, around.
Like, just playing some guy in a show, definitely.
It's, like, good on him for getting so much work in this industry. Even if they're not, like, lead parts, it's like, you got all those roles, though.
There's so many well-off, like, actors who have been in, like, one of everything who are like, that's my life, and now I'm set for it.
That's just
Like,
who
what
I
you gonna?
am.
You may not know my name, but oh, you know my face.
Dude, I have been so back into like my Adam Devine phase. I've been
Oh
watching
my
like all and
God.
like me and some friends are gonna get together and watch Pitch Perfect again soon. And I'm like, I get to see my special boy. His
I remember when you started like getting into him.
into like workaholics in general, and now it's like, guys,
I'm back.
guys, this is the worst thing I've ever been a fan of, I think. So this guy says that he has a facility and a team for Frank's transplant, and that after it's done, they have to take him to the hospital. The ER will admit him at that point, regardless of how he got the liver. They're like, just call 911 20 minutes after we leave. They'll take him to the ER. And he tries to jack up the price. Yeah, I think the price originally agreed upon was like $22K, but he tries to jack it up to 30, and then Sammy and Sheila talk him down to 26. Which is a lot of fucking money.
Yeah,
so
that's
much
a
fucking
lot
money.
of money. I don't think I've ever had that much money to my name ever.
Yeah, I get that it's gonna like save Frank's life, like it's a life-saving transplant, but like, Jesus Christ, like where did they get this?
Sheila has not worked ever since we've seen this show. She probably gets money from Eddie being dead, and she probably gets benefits.
She said she had savings, she collects unemployment, and also Eddie's life insurance. Sammy got money from selling Sheila's house a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But
that's still a lot of money just to have in your pocket.
Yeah, for real. And then he gives them a number to call, and he gets up and leaves to get into the taxi that he drives.
Is this when he's like, and this is your donor, and it's just a guy in another booth?
Yeah, and he like doesn't speak any English.
Yeah, he's just like
hey.
he's just like tweaking out, like doesn't know where he is, and he's like, this will be your donor. And Sammy and Sheila
he's a perfect match. And it's like, did they ever take any samples from Frank?
Yeah, they did. And then like I think even Sammy or Sheila is like, did we tell you like what what blood type he is, or like what? I don't know.
But just blood type also being the same as like it could still reject.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Sammy again is the only one here who's like, that's suspicious. That's weird.
That's suspicious.
That's weird. And at home, Ian comes in from his Fiona search with no sign of her. He's quiet for exactly 1 second before asking why none of them ever learned an instrument. And he goes on this like rant for a minute, this manic rant, just talking faster than his brain can even move. But Lip cuts him off. The frustration of Fiona and studying starting to make him snap. But he apologizes right away. But it's like, no, Lip, like, you were right. He's being fucking annoying. I mean, I get that he's manic, he can't control it, but...
But this is not the time to talk about wanting to learn the guitar. Like, homeboy, come on.
He doesn't get that, though. It's like, it's not processing for him. Like, he's like, I don't get it.
He doesn't know social cues as of now, because he's just so, like...
Because he's manic.
Not himself.
Yeah. So, Ian tries to assure Debbie that just because Fiona's gone, it doesn't mean that she's hurt. That when he joined the army, he just needed to get away for a little while. And it's like, yeah, but Ian... You weren't on probation.
Yeah, Ian, you just ran away because you got your little stupid heart broken. Like, not because you are coked out and went on a bender.
Yeah, well, it's just
the stakes.
Too, anyways. The stakes were different. Ian was not involved with the law.
The law. Well, now he is, but we'll talk about
Ian also was not the head of frickin' household. Like,
Yeah, like Fiona, like
he didn't have as much responsibility.
Love her forever. She goes through her own things, but she's the head of the household. Lip was at school when this happened. Ian is off his shits, as everyone knows, so he's not responsible for anyone. Literally, you got 3 children left over after that.
Yeah, and Debbie can, like, decently take care of herself, but...
Yeah, but still, you have a whole household. Like,
but Carl gets into too much trouble to not have an adult around. Liam is a literal baby.
When Lip even comes in with the bills, he's like, Fiona fucking was... My bad. I can't do shit.
Yeah.
She's supposed to pay him.
Yeah, but also he's like, yeah, like she's the only one who had like a good enough job, and then that whole thing about her like wanting to catch up on bills previously. Anyway, back to it. Lip suggests that maybe she's pulling a Frank, and she just went somewhere to get fucked up out of her mind, because what has she done lately that suggests that she wouldn't do that? And he's right.
Yeah.
So they shift their search from hospitals and morgues, like thinking that's an accident, to bridges and drunk tanks. Lip has to go back to school, but Ian and Debbie jump on the search. This is a really fun episode for both of them. Their little team up. Fiona, meanwhile, is passed out again, but this time it's in the backseat of a moving van. She wakes up and is going to puke, so she opens the window and pukes out.
But let it be known, it's not a normal window. It's a van window that
so it's like it doesn't really open
4 inches sideways. So she was like puking like with her head. Oh my god, I hate it. I always have to skip that part.
She definitely got a little bit of splashage on the splatter on the side of the van.
Splatter.
Splashage. Yep.
Splashage.
So she has no idea where they're going, and then I'm pretty sure. Maybe it's at this point, maybe it's a little bit later, but one of, like, the girl earlier who said about the ecstasy was like, she was like, don't you remember the farm in Wisconsin? Like, that's where they're going.
Like, who are all these freaking people coked out of their mind
Literally
going on a road trip
people they
randomly?
were hanging out with. And, like, they left Robbie at home. Like, these are Robbie's friends, but Robbie's not with them.
Yeah, also, fuck you, Robbie, for letting them take Fiona.
He definitely did not give a shit. He was probably passed out too.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely is.
When Ian and Debbie knock on the door, he was asleep. Yeah, he was asleep, and he woke up and he was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" At home, Sheila's asking the guy who's going to be Frank's liver donor for wedding outfit advice, which he gives. It's in a language that she doesn't speak, but he's being helpful. Why
and
did
she's
they
like,
just
thank you.
Okay, why did they just leave the donor with Sheila and Sammy?
I don't know. The guy doesn't even like reference him when he leaves. He just gets up and leaves him with them.
No, they were literally like, babysit him. Like, just take him with you. Sammy comes in and she tries to explain to Sheila that Frank has died. And she's like, he's upstairs and he took his last breath and he closed his eyes and his pulse went, and Sheila's like, no, he isn't. God damn it. And she like goes upstairs and she tries to perform CPR and Sammy fights her on it, but Frank wakes up and stops them. So Sheila decides, fuck it. They're calling the taxi doctor and doing the transplant right now. And Sammy agrees. Because it's getting down to it.
It's cutting it close.
Debbie and Ian bang down the door of Robbie's apartment and demand to see her. While Robbie looks for her, because he's like, she might still be here, even though it's a fucking studio apartment. Debbie sees Ian stretching and he brushes it off with a new workout routine that works your shoulders. But there's like a split second when Debbie turns away from him and you see his face fall. And you can see that he's lying. Like, it's so fucking subtle. I think it's because he's so energized he can't stop moving.
Yeah.
Like, he can't stop fidgeting around. And Debbie's like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, oh, like, I've just been doing this new, like, workout. Good job, Cameron.
Thank you, Cameron.
Yeah. Did you see that he's doing this, like, Versace campaign? He's part of the Versace campaign?
I saw him posting it the other day, and I was like, okay, model boy, good for you.
Like, go him.
I'm glad he's doing something entertaining.
Well, I did not watch that movie that he did, the Shattered movie. I heard it's, like, very similar to Misery, and I was just kind of like... Well, also, he wasn't supposed to be cast in it.
From the photos of it, and you saying it was like Misery, I literally was... When I saw those photos, I was like, why does this just look like Misery?
Yeah.
Just like him chained to a bed and then him covered in blood. And I was like, I think I'm good.
And with like the broken leg. I really, and like he wasn't supposed to be cast in it either. Like he literally got hired like the first day of filming because there was a last minute scheduling issue with the previous lead. That's so funny. So he didn't have any time to like learn lines or do some like character work or anything. So he was
probably
like
was so pissed. He was like, bruh, I needed at least a year advance to understand.
No, he made a post. He was like, I wasn't as prepped on the character as I would have liked to be, but it was still really fun, like a fun experience. And I was like,
shut up, you fucking method actor, get out of here.
Yeah, I think they shot it in like a very short amount of time too. It was something like 16 days or...
I feel like it was like filmed a couple months ago. I remember it being like not that long ago, and it was very short.
When they were filming. Let me like double check, just make sure we have all of our ducks in order.
Because I remember like they put like him posting. It was like after Shameless wrapped.
Yeah, it was. It was
like a little bit after Shameless wrapped.
He filmed like in May-ish. Yeah, he's just been like hanging out, chilling, doing his thing. You know, like just like hanging out. Anyway. Robbie tells them that she left without her shoes, her coat, or her phone. Like, he's like, here's all of her stuff. And Debbie tells Robbie to stay the fuck away from Fiona.
Thank you, Debbie.
Yeah, she calls Lip and updates him, but he's taking a test and has to ignore it, so I'm pretty sure she just, like, leaves him a voicemail. At the bar, Kev celebrates the birth of his daughters and hands out cigarettes and 1 round of half-off well drinks. And everyone's like, what the fuck is this? We got, like, free drinks when you got engaged or something like that. And he's like, and now I have 2 kids to provide for, bitch. And he looks in the cash register and sees it's empty, and Paco tells him to take it up with Mickey. Upstairs, in the freezing cold rub and tug, Mickey tells Svet to get the girls to show some skin. He says, they're not climbing Everest, they're climbing Dick. And he, like, turns around, he's like, hey, Nanook of the fucking North, why don't you lose the parka unless you plan on banging Eskimos?
They really got him saying the most.
His references, too. No, because Nanook of the North, or Nanook of the North, like, I can't remember the exact title of this documentary. It's a pretty famous documentary. Mickey does not strike me as the type.
Yeah, for Mickey to be the one to watch it.
Like, maybe not watch it or, like, know about it. Like, he doesn't seem like the type to know about it. You know? Like, I'm like, how the fuck did he know what that was?
Probably Ian just told him randomly. Ian just tells him a bunch of facts and then Mickey makes insults out of them.
Mickey's like, okay, so there's this guy and they did a documentary about him and he was, like, an Eskimo. Okay.
Okay, cool.
I can work that in. Yeah, he's like, I can work that in.
No, it's just one of the writers being like, what's a very obscure reference that we can make a joke about?
No, because they were smart for it. That documentary came out, like, ages ago. Like, I want to say, like, in the 60s? Maybe even earlier.
Oh, damn.
Because I know
documentary
now, like, Bill Hader and Fred Armisen's thing did a parody of it. Anyway, Kev comes upstairs pissed about Mickey taking the cash. And Mickey says that he's charging for the whores now. Like Kelly girls. Instead of Kelly, it's Mickey. Instead of girls, it's whores. So then Kev takes out the gun that Mickey gave him and tells Mickey to empty his pockets. And he says, are you robbing me with my own fucking gun?
That line is so funny.
Amanda says that Noel or Mickey, whatever, looks fucking hot. That this scene is hot.
Agreed.
The only reason I would disagree is that he's, like, craning his neck so fucking hard to look up at him. And he's getting robbed.
Yeah.
And
he's small.
Like, it's like he's being emasculated as fuck right now. Like, I just look at him, I'm like, aw, like, that sucks.
You're robbing me with my own fucking gun. I'm looking up at you.
But then after he finishes giving up the money to Kev, well, because he's like, you better put a bullet in my chest or something like that. But he gives over the money, and he turns around to Svetlana after Kev leaves and just says, he's a fucking dead man.
He's, like, got an evil eye.
Yeah, he's pissed. Over to Bonnie and Carl striking out at another hospital. Bonnie says that her dad taught her how to jack cars. He's in prison, and Carl asks what the last thing she said to her dad was. She tells him it was something mundane. Like, it was something like don't forget the something when you go to the store or something like that. And he asks her to teach him how to steal ATMs like her dad.
What a thing to try to steal when you're, like, 11 years old.
No, because they steal, like, the whole machine. They don't steal from
the
ATM. They just take the whole fucking thing.
They, like, tie a bunch of chains around it and just drive with it.
Yeah. Sheila meets up with the taxi doctor in a warehouse where they're literally building an ER, and she gives him the bag of money.
How do you get that much in cash that fast, too? God damn.
Yeah. I mean, I bet she just traded it all in for cash at the bank or something. But if I was the bank, I would be like, what do you need this for, girl?
What do you need all that cash for?
Maybe she could be like, oh, I'm buying a car, but, like, they're only accepting cash or something. Whatever. Very easy to lie. Back to Fiona, still asleep in the car. Her drug friends go inside at the gas station where they've stopped, and she gets out to go to the bathroom.
She, like, stumbles out of the van.
She's, like, in her socks, like...
Yeah, and it's cold as hell. She only has, like, her little thin flannel on.
I don't even think she has anything. She's just wearing a long-sleeve shirt. She doesn't have any clothes. She has herself a lovely little breakdown, and it looks fucking freezing in there.
And it's dirty as shit, and it's, like, scary, like, UV lighting.
Yeah, she like pounds on the mirror. It's really sad. She comes out of the bathroom to see her drug friends drive away without her, which freaking sucks. Like, it's like, okay, at least you're not going to, like, bumfuck nowhere in Wisconsin, but now you're stranded. Isn't it, like, night, too?
No, I think it's, like, right before, like, dusk.
Okay, because I know she waits overnight with the gas station guy.
Yeah, because I was to say then she waits overnight and then Lip comes by the next morning. So I think it's, like, right before, like, the sun starts to set.
Yeah.
Because if they left that morning when Robbie and them woke up, so they've been driving for a good couple of hours by now.
Yeah. But in the makeshift operating room in the warehouse, the donor freaks out, but they put him to sleep anyway.
Yeah, he's like, I'm done. I don't want to do it. He's like trying to jump out of the bed and they fucking
Yeah.
sedate him.
Which is, okay, if the whole thing turns out to be that they weren't transplanting anything, they instead stole his kidney, why the fuck did they need that guy? What was he for?
They probably just...
Did they also steal organs from him?
I was about to say, they probably convinced him that he was donating, and then he was also going to get money, but they probably just took his organ
Or maybe they were convincing him instead that he was getting also a donation, you know?
Oh, yeah, because he didn't speak English, so he
there was
probably
that language
just...
barrier.
Yeah, so he probably maybe was told the same thing, like Frank was his donor or whatever, even though he would be like, why do I want his? He needs mine.
He tells Sheila and Sammy that the operation will take 6 hours and they'll call 911 when he's done. Bonnie and Carl run their car into a convenience store wall. She hands him a garbage bag and tells him to get milk and food and to ignore the ATM. And they take a moment to smooch a little.
Cuties.
And it's like, why are they getting milk and food? Wink, wink, wink. Back to Fiona. She lucked out with a very nice gas station attendant who doesn't want her to freeze outside.
He's so nice.
Yeah, he offers her his phone to let her call up. Well, because it's obvious that she's not homeless.
Mm-hmm.
She literally
Because she didn't want to come in to loiter, so she was literally just sitting outside, and he approached her being like, hey, like, are you okay?
Yeah, because it didn't look like, because normally, like, if you see, like, a homeless person, like, they have some belongings with them. She had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, she belongs somewhere. But, you know, Lip ignores the call because it's an unknown number, and she leaves a message telling him where she is and that she's sorry. And the gas station attendant then takes her inside.
What a nice dude.
He was great. He was the best. In the warehouse, Frank's operation is over, and the taxi doctor tells them to wait 10 minutes before calling 911. But Sammy decides, no, fuck that. He looks half dead. I'm calling now.
Yeah, no, he literally was not looking good.
Yeah. In the gas station, the nice man, whose name is Ray, gives Fiona a jacket and a coffee. And Lip calls back, and, like, I think we just see, like, kind of I think we see both points of view of the call. But then he hangs up, and he's like, where the fuck is Sheboygan?
Where is that? Is that in Chicago? Is it in Illinois?
No, it's in Wisconsin, because it's only about an hour or two. Oh, it's in Michigan. Oh, right. I live in Michigan. I should have known that.
Yeah,
Why the fuck were they in Michigan?
Is that nowhere near Wisconsin?
No, okay.
I've never been. I've been to Michigan once.
You can go straight into Wisconsin from Illinois.
The fuck? They took the long way.
No, they were in northern Michigan. Like, okay, you know, like the hand?
Yeah.
They were like middle finger. They were up there.
Oh. Why the fuck were they so far up?
Like,
that's so weird. That's what, they would have to cross the entire Michigan state.
They did.
How long of a drive is that? Like 5 hours?
Wisconsin is literally straight north above Illinois. It's like an hour or two to get there.
So they go diagonal like into Michigan?
Well, you have to go around the lake. Because, okay, Chicago is like right on the top right of like, because there's like the lake right there. It's right on the lake. It's like the top right of the state. It takes about an hour or two to get into Wisconsin. You have to drive around the lake, like into Indiana, through Indiana, to get up into Michigan, and then they had to drive all the way north through Michigan, which takes a good, I want to say, like, let's see, because Columbus to northern Michigan is like 8 hours. They were probably driving for like 9-10 hours.
God damn, and that's all. But I feel like
they
at
thought
the
they were
time
going to
they left.
Wisconsin?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that seems like they were not there's no way they drove that far.
Well, it's like, yeah, drugs, but it's like, you serious?
Are you telling me that the people driving were... She was only missing for like 24 hours, but they would have had to leave like the morning after their bender because no one was fucking...
I feel like they left real early in the morning though, because you know, like when you're on... I feel like drugs and alcohol, like even if you're tired, like you don't actually sleep.
Oh, there is a Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
There is?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, there is. Damn, we went on that whole tangent.
Damn.
Sheboygan. Well, what area of Wisconsin is it in? Okay, yeah, that's a couple hour drive. It's along Lake Michigan.
All right, and let's get back on track.
Okay, Amanda, cut that out. We look like fucking
Amanda,
idiots.
we're so sorry. Amanda, we're idiots.
Liv calls back and asks, "Where the fuck is Sheboygan?"
In Wisconsin, from what we learned.
Yeah, it is. Well, I knew that there was a Sheboygan, Wisconsin, but then when I looked it up, the first result was Michigan, and I was like, okay. Anyway, cut to a Pop-Tart popping out of the toaster in the Gallagher kitchen, and Ian tells Mickey that Kev is a friend. He literally goes, Kev is a friend. It's like, okay.
Mickey's like, and what about him?
So, and Mickey says, you know what? When someone robs me with my own fucking gun, they're not my friend. I'm kind of funny like that.
He is kind of funny for that.
Oh, like, girl, I get it. Like, I would be mad too. Mickey says that he's going to his house to get assault rifles and his brother's, and then he's going to Kev's house. Carl and Debbie talk about Fiona in Wisconsin. Lip is on his way. Mickey keeps, like, storming out of the house, angrily eating his Pop-Tart, and Ian is, like, following behind him like a little puppy. He keeps, like, trying to talk to him, too. He's like, oh, Mickey,
don't do this.
Come the fuck on. He goes, oh, Mickey, come the fuck on. And it's like, okay. Like,
okay.
Okay, a little fighting. Carl gets ready to leave for school, and when Fiona's probation officer and some cops roll in, he books it out the back door. Regina asks about where Fiona is, and Ian and Debbie cover for her, saying she's out looking for a job. You fucking idiot, though. Like, okay, I get that they want to cover for her. They already know that her ankle bracelet is out of range and has been cut off.
Yeah, it's been disconnected. They know she's nowhere to be fucking found right now.
Like, they have computers that tell them that. It's like, we know this.
Yeah, she knows they're full of shit.
Yeah. So then Regina finds Debbie's shiv and she says she uses it for knitting. She's like, I use it for knitting. Okay, girl. Girls make do. If we could have had the Debbie from this episode and the rest of the series, I would have loved her because Debbie is great in this episode.
Yeah, no, she's entertaining. She's not annoying.
And she's not hanging around with those girls that are like making her evil. It's like she had so much potential. I get that they wanted to make her a layered character, but she already has like faults.
She already was like had all of the good qualities of Fiona with her own personality, and then they just turned her into a bitch.
Yeah, well, and also she had her own faults. Like that's the thing. If they were like, we made Debbie this way because we wanted her to have faults, it's like you gave her too many faults. You gave her too many faults. Too many. Anyway.
And then all of her redemption things didn't make any sense because she still sucked.
No, and then when they made her a lesbian, we were all like, what?
We were like, we didn't want this representation.
Well, we were like, thank you for the lesbian rep, but like, what?
What?
What? Okay. Back to Frank, who's being loaded into an ambulance while Sammy and Sheila tell the EMTs about the shady liver transplant. Yeah, they're like, what's wrong with him? And they're like, oh, he just had a liver transplant. And they're like, how long ago? And she goes, like 20 minutes.
Like 25 minutes? And he's
like,
what?
What? At the ball house, Kev comes in tripping over the girl stuff while V takes care of the girls. And that is foreshadowing for something, that he keeps tripping over all this baby stuff.
That scene is so funny.
And he's like kicking it around.
It's like the one with like the little like arches, so it gets like hooked on his leg, so he like kicks it crazy.
Yeah. Kev is acting really paranoid and weird, probably because he pissed off Mickey fucking Milkovich. And while V tends to the girls, he gets a shotgun he's hidden in the closet out. I would also like to make a comment about how fast they send V home from the hospital and how twins are usually preemies who have to spend at least a little time in the NICU, but also bad insurance or no insurance. And our broken healthcare system do answer a lot of these plot holes. Also, I mean, yeah, they sent her home. It's not the same day. It's the next day.
Yeah, it's definitely the next day.
It's the next day. I could think that they got home that morning, maybe. And
actually,
their twins might not be preemies. It's the next.
No, they babies must have not been preemies then. Yeah, because they didn't say any issues in the hospital. They just had them, and then the next scene we see Kevin V's. The babies are at home.
Yeah. I also think Kevin V, since they like own Alibi too and get health insurance through that, maybe I feel like they might have actually kind of decent health insurance as compared to the Gallaghers. But the Gallaghers, it is also like you're trying to provide for a family of 7.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's got like
it's a lot of damn people.
And nobody's got like a corporate job. Like, yeah. Anyway, at the Sheboygan gas station in the morning, Lip comes to Fiona's rescue, and for the first time in forever, they make up. They hug, and she apologizes, and he says that he's just glad she's okay. And they both give Ray like a little thank you on the way out. She like smiles at him because she's kind of embarrassed, and it's like, yeah, girl, you should be.
You should be. That is quite embarrassing.
Just a little. To the hospital, the doctor tells Sammy and Sheila that no, Frank did not have a liver transplant today. In fact, he's missing a kidney. And the incision
and they get so mad.
Yeah, and they're like, what the fuck? Like, they're like, we paid $26,000 to have his kidney stolen. And it's like, yeah, you fucking idiot.
Dumbasses.
And the incision is infected as fuck.
It literally looks like someone put, like, some staples and super glue on it.
Yeah, it got infected, like, so fast. But we find out that he has days, maybe even hours to live. And somehow, Sheila still asks Frank if he'll marry her. And he opens his eyes, and says something to her that she hears as couldn't be more thrilled. But then she's like, oh my God, like, yeah. And she like runs out, and then he pulls Sammy in again, and then he's like, more pills. And Sammy's like, oh, yeah, like, okay.
Okay, I got you, Bab.
Bonnie brings Carl to the van where her family lives. She has at least 4 brothers and sisters and a mom that lives with them. He briefly meets her mom, who quickly has to leave for work. He's about to meet the rest of them when he gets the news that Frank is getting married and also dying. Does Bonnie want to come?
Doesn't he go say, like, do you want to go to a wedding?
Yeah, he's like, do you want to go, like, meet my dad? Joining the boys again, Mickey is still determined to gather his guns and brothers and kill Kev, and Ian is following, trying to, like, stop him. They're, like, at the Milkovich house. They go inside to see Mandy, who earlier in this episode said that she was done with Kenyatta, in the kitchen cooking for him. They're both shocked and pissed, but Mickey is quicker to give up on trying to convince her to leave than Ian is. Because he's like, if I can't convince her, like, I'm not gonna force, like, I can't force her. She's my fucking, she's my sister. She's tough. Like,
yeah, she makes her own damn decisions.
Yeah. But Ian, like, goes to Mandy and tries to talk to her, and he grabs her arms and she fights him off, and, like, they start, like, kind of pushing each other, and that's when Kenyatta gets up and gets in Ian's face, and he's so fucking tall.
Oh my God,
huge.
He's huge.
Ian snaps and pulls a knife on him and holds it to his throat. Very army training of him.
Cam's, like, fucking Ian switches up so fast. He grabs that knife and is on him so
There's
fast.
There's, like, a freaking darkness in his face.
He, like, anything behind his eyes, gone.
Yeah. Suddenly, Mickey's at his side, carefully talking him down. And
like, hey.
He tells Ian to, like, look him in the eyes and hand over the knife, so he does. They get their shit, and they're both, like, trying to catch their breath. Like, they're both like, oh my God, like, what is going on? Ian, like, leans over the fence. Like, a spell has just been, like, broken.
Yeah, no, he's like...
Yeah. Finally, Mickey, like, voices his concerns. He's like, 1 minute, you're, like, Superman making pancakes, running around taking pictures of the goddamn sunrise, and the next, you want to cut somebody's throat. You smoking meth or something? And, like, I think had he known about mania, he would have seen it. He would have been like, no, this is, like, fucking mental illness. But Ian ignores all of Mickey's questions as his phone rings.
But, like, Mickey's been around people on highs and lows all the time. So, of course, he's like, are you just fucking smoking meth? Like, everyone else
like,
is just
what's going on
tripping
here?
all the time. Like, are you good?
Yeah. And so he ignores him and goes to answer his phone. And Mickey goes, yeah, please check your phone. I'll just yell at the fucking wall. Such behavior of him, like, just like, okay, Petty, like,
yeah, he voices his concerns.
But the text that he got was about Frank, and he turns to him, he's like, Frank's dying or something. He like he's
and Mickey's like,
all he says is it's Frank. And it's like, we all know what's going on with Frank. We join Fiona and Lip on their way home. He makes her eat something, but she says she doesn't want to be Frank or Monica. And she doesn't know who she is anymore, but she knows that she's let the family down. And Lip apologizes to her, too, for turning his back on her after everything she's done for them. And it's like, yeah, like, this was a thing that happened because both parties abandoned their responsibilities. Like, this was, like, equal fault.
Yeah, because, like, they both have, like, been giving each other the cold shoulder for so long. We're more so Lip to Fiona, but it's both of them being like, we both were shitty.
Well, because it's like she does need help and she needs compassion, and he was not providing that for her. But at the same time, in the first place, like, she let it slip.
Mm-hmm. She took on all that responsibility and she knew every consequence that would have come with it.
Yeah. So Debbie calls and is so relieved to hear that Fiona's okay. There's a very sweet I love you moment between them. And then she drops the bomb about Frank dying and marrying Sheila. Like, she's like 1-2 punch. She's like, Frank's getting married. Also, he's dying. To the balls, they're struggling to swaddle the babies when Kev gets a text from Debbie. It's a text from Debbie. Fiona's safe. What'd she say? Read it to me. Fiona's safe. It's like,
that line is so funny. Just like that, because like she's like, oh my god, read it to me. What does it say? Fiona's safe,
right? Like, but that's like so something that would happen in real life, is that you expect a little more information. Like, oh, we found her at a gas station in Wisconsin. Like,
she didn't have any shoes on. She went on a drug bender. Blah 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 blah.
She was passed out and people brought her there, like, against her will. You know. But it's just like, Fiona's safe. We hear 2 shots from outside and Kev freaks out, grabbing his shotgun and going outside, but it's just idiot kids setting off fireworks in the street. So he shoos them away, comes back in, and then trips over the baby thing that he tripped over earlier, and the gun goes off. And I think it shoots somewhere into the kitchen.
They have like those, like between the dining room and the kitchen, there's these
like
little panel things.
Yeah.
There's like it's like the stained glass little panels. I think it shoots through one of those.
It does. And he's like, oh my God, like, are the babies okay? Like, are you okay? And everyone's fine.
It's silent.
Yeah, V was just sitting at the table, but she freaks the fuck out and tells him to stay away from her. And he promises to get rid of the guns. And they kind of make up here pretty quickly. Like, well, she's not very receptive to like his touch, but he like wraps her up in his arms anyway and is like, I promise, like, I'm gonna get rid of the guns. At the hospital, Ian talks like an idiot about how cool the wedding's gonna be, but it's unclear if Frank and Monica are still married. I think they did divorce.
They are.
Do you think so?
But I know, but I think sometime during like season 5, we find out that like I think Frank and Sheila aren't really married because the divorce never went through with him and Monica.
Yeah.
Like, but they were married, but like when some legal document happened again, and then they find out that they weren't never really legally married because the divorce never went through.
Yeah, but whatever. I mean, like, he's dying. What are they gonna do? Get mad?
Bye. No one gives a shit.
Debbie says that she forgives Frank for everything he did unless he dies, and then she doesn't.
I love that.
And I think they're standing in the hospital room with Frank. He's passed out. And Carl does not have any wise last words. A bunch of alibi people are also there, and Sheila comes in her wedding dress while Kermit marries them.
King. I love that he married them.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Lip brings Fiona to her probation officer's office. She says that last time she was there, she thought she was so different from everyone else sitting in the waiting room, but now she fits right in. She tells him he can leave to go study, but he says he can just study right there.
Did they give her some shoes?
They took her shoes from Robbie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But does Lip have the shoes?
Yeah, she's wearing them now, I think. And she's got, like, a jacket and stuff. And it's like something has been mended between them, like sins forgiven, and they're back to being, like, each other's 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Back at the wedding, Kermit marries them, and as Sheila kisses Frank, some nurses and doctors come running in and say that since he's in serious condition, he's been moved up the waiting list, so he's getting a liver, which, if you're an alcoholic, you aren't even eligible to join the list until you're 1 year sober. You could be on death's door. If you aren't 1 year sober, UNOS doesn't even know who you are.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
I did not know that either. Also, Mickey is in this scene. He's there. I never saw him before, but then someone posts when they're wheeling Frank out of the room, like, you can see him. He was at the wedding, which I thought was so fucking funny. He's like right outside the door.
Ian was probably like, "You want to be my date?
Like, you want to come with?" Well, because they probably went straight there, and he was just like,
"Yeah,
oh, okay. Like, are you gonna come?" Like,
that's so funny. I don't think I ever saw Mickey in this scene.
I never saw him. I just assumed he wasn't there. I assumed they like went their separate ways. But then somebody on Twitter like posted the scene, and they were like just that little short clip of like where you can see Mickey when they're like wheeling Frank out the door, and they're like, Mickey's like right there, and it was like, oh my god, what? Like,
oh my god, hey.
Like, he was like at this little fucked up wedding, like, okay, girl. But anyway, last scene, Regina King is sitting Fiona down, and she goes, do you want to go first or should I? And we just kind of like stay with Fiona as she like contemplates what she's gonna say.
Oof.
The credits song is Ribbons by Heliotropes, and there's no after credit scene
because they want you to feel.
Next week on Shameless, let's fucking go. It's Emily. Frank wakes up after his surgery. Ian is acting up in public with Mickey, pissed that Mickey keeps hiding. Lip brings Amanda's parents over to the house for dinner. Ian gets into a fight. Mickey's face is bloody. CPS shows up. Frank is having memory issues, and Fiona is in prison for 90 days. I'm so fucking excited.
I'm so excited.
I hope we can get our schedules like really well matched up.
Oh yeah, we have to. I get my schedule probably soon.
Yeah, it's a little complicated now because like you guys work days and I work nights.
Yeah.
And I'm also in school during the day, so it's like we only have weekends. This weekend was just a little weird just because I have family here, but I think we'll get it together. We'll be like, okay, we're sitting down for 4 hours.
I know, we need a whole ass session for that one.
Yeah. Well, what did you think about this episode?
I love this episode. It's entertaining as hell. Like, it's good.
It's just like really good. It doesn't feel filler.
Season 4 is just so nice to watch. Like, I just love season 4. Like,
Yeah.
I think every episode in season 4, I can enjoy every episode. Especially the back half.
Yeah, and it's like no one's storyline feels wasted. It doesn't feel like this episode specifically doesn't feel like filler. It's simply aftermath to things like to
Like
major events that happened in the last episode.
Yeah, even though like everyone had all of their own separate little things this episode, they all tied together
They
in
felt
like
equal,
a
too.
good way. Like they all tied together not in a everyone was just randomly involved with everyone's bullshit, but
Yeah.
they tied it together with like everyone getting a text message and then everyone together at the end while everyone also is still dealing with their own shit in another scene. Like it's good.
It felt more like, I don't want to say more real because nothing about the show is realistic, but it felt more real in terms of like the dynamics that a family has, where you come together for the big things, but you all have your own shit.
We probably had, 5 or 6 different things going on this episode, but it all felt equally like I understood everything going on.
Yeah, and everything felt true to character. Like, nobody felt like outlandishly out of character ever.
Nothing was out of place. It was just a nice episode of just another fucking chaotic experience for all of them.
Yeah.
Drama!
It was great, but...
Fuck a comedy. This ain't
Yeah.
comedy. What are you talking about?
Like, what are you
The only time I laugh in episodes is Mickey being a dick to people.
Yeah. Great episode. Anyway, that is the end of this episode.
Yes.
If you want to like talk to us, send us messages, send us emails. Our Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok are at or if you want to send us messages, DMs, emails, our Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok are at luckwehadpod. One of us will respond to you. Can't say who it will be, but it will either probably be Amanda. It will probably be her.
She's always up on that.
Yeah, and our email is luckwehadpod@gmail.com.
If you guys want to buy stickers or if you guys want to buy a t-shirt, you can check out our website, the luckwehad.card.co. That is in the bios of all of our information, our TikTok, our website, our Instagram.
We do have a bonfire campaign going up, yes.
But Lena, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Kojak, COJACKK. You can find me on Twitter at Durs Holmvik, like the character from Workaholics, except the L is an I. You can find Amanda on Instagram at abnormalamanda18. You can find her on Twitter at abnormalamanda. You can find her on TikTok at abnormalamanda_18. Evan, I thought I'd plug her since she's not here. Evan, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at IamOK4000. You can find me on Twitter at InternetLifeYo, or you can find me on TikTok at Unevent. Thank you guys so much for joining us this week. And Amanda, we love you and we miss you, and we will see her next week.
If you like this episode, let us know. Rate, review, subscribe. It does matter. Let us know on our socials or anything like that. Get excited for Emily. Let's fucking go.
I'm so excited for Emily, dude. This is
excited.
the one episode we have only ever talked about.
We talk about it, I think, every single episode.
Like, we name drop a couple episodes. This episode is the name
is like
dropped
V1.
one. If someone
literally
wants to
V1.
go in and tally every single time we have mentioned Emily so far in these past 4 seasons,
probably.
you can come be a guest on the show if you tell us how many times we've talked about this damn episode.
Yeah. But we are gonna get out of here.
Yes, we are.
All right. Good to see you.
Bye, Lena.
Bye.
Bye everybody.